The Holy Gospel according to Matthew in the 25th chapter. Jesus said to the disciples, "For it is as if a man going on a journey summoned his slaves and entrusted his property to them. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to each according to his ability. And then he went away. And the one who had received the 5 talents went off at once and traded with them and made 5 more talents. In the same way, the one who had the 2 talents made 2 more talents. But the one who had received the 1 talent went off and dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those slaves came and settled accounts with them. And then the one who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 more talents, saying, 'Master, you handed me over to me 5 talents. See, I have made 5 more talents.' His master said to him, 'Well done, good and trustworthy slave. You have been trustworthy in a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master.' And the one with the 2 talents also came forward, saying, 'Master, you handed over to me 2 talents. See, I have made 2 more talents.' His master said to him, 'Well done, good and trustworthy slave. You have been trustworthy in a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master.' And then the one who had received the 1 talent also came forward, saying, 'Master, I knew that you were a harsh man, reaping where you did not sow and gathering where you do not scatter seed. So I was afraid, and I went and I hid your talent in the ground. Here you have what is yours.' But the master replied, 'You wicked and lazy slave. You knew, did you, that I reap where I did not sow and gather where I did not scatter? Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and on my return I would have received what was my own with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to the one with the 10 talents. For to those who have been more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But from those who have nothing, even what they have will be taken away. And as for this worthless slave, throw him into the outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth.' And this is the gospel of the Lord." Now, Matthew. At first it looks so simple, doesn't it? What is a man going away on a journey, summons his slaves, trusting property, 1 5, 1 2, 1 1, and then he goes away. And the immediate assumption is, who is this man? Oh, sure, this is God. This is a parable. This is God. And he gives each one of us different things, talents, abilities, and we're expected to use them in some shape or form in the church. That's the quick and easy, right? And so then he comes back, and the one with 5 gets 5 more, and the one with 2 gets 2 more, and all of a sudden these are the most wonderful people in the world, and then that poor boob who has buried his talent gets nothing. He didn't even put it in the bank. I didn't realize they had banks that gave interest during Jesus' time, but they do. And so as a result, he rewards the ones who work hard with the 5, with the 2, and then the one comes along and all of a sudden he has nothing to give, not even the interest, and so it's harsh. And he even says so, "I know you were a harsh man. You reap where you don't sow, you gather where you did not scatter. I was afraid, and I went and I hid your talent in the ground. Here, have what is yours." And then the wrath, "You wicked, you lazy slave. You knew, did you, that I reap where I do not sow, gather where I do not scatter? Take a talent away from him. Give it to the one who has the 10. That's what is worth the slave. Throw him out into the outer darkness where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So, which one are you? Are you the guys that got the 5 talents and look back in your life and say, I got 10. Now I can say that God will welcome me into his kingdom and saying, oh, good, faithful servant, come on in. And to the 2, gain 2 more. You got 4. Just what I was looking for. And to the 1, lazy slave. So, is this how God works? Is this what he's up to? Is this what you want to face when you walk in front of the face of God? Mark is, I mean, don't we, every time we come in here, have that brief order of sin and confession of sins? We have not done what we have called to do, the things that we should have done, we have not done, over and over again. I mean, did you ever stop and think when you say that confession, what you're saying is, I'm the one who buried the talent. You know something? It's very possible I'll do it again today, so I have to know where there's some mercy. Well, you're not going to get it in this text, are you? Because basically what he's saying is, oh, you did it again? You're here again Sunday? You've got to say your confession? I'm sick and tired of this. Let's throw you out where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. It's where you belong, isn't it? Or are we looking at this parable as if it were a negative from the real print that it was supposed to be printed? Could it be, and it's very interesting, Jesus says to the disciples, he did not start this like he often does, the kingdom of God is like. Notice he didn't use that? So let's push that out of the way. It is as if a man going on a journey. What if that man represents wealth and power? What if that man is gathering his, not disciples, but his moneymakers and saying, you want to be like me? You want to enter into the joy of my kingdom? Here, take this money. See how well you can do with it. Build it up. Invest it. Because that's the type of person I am. I appreciate people who pull themselves up by their bootstraps, who are what Wall Street would love. Isn't that what a good investor is supposed to do? Isn't that what we would pay, for example, a financial planner to do for us? Is there something deep and unusual about this parable that says, maybe I haven't seen it the way it could possibly be seen? That in his coming back, what he likes in himself, and that is to gain money, to make it big. And those are the people that are his pets, come into the joy of your kingdom. I don't know. And to the one who looked at that type of person who wants to gain the world and the money and the talents, he doesn't particularly like that, perhaps, and he's afraid of this type of personality. So he buries the talent rather than to use it, maybe, in a type of investment that takes advantage of other people, that divests other people of their own money, that helps grind people into poverty. So he refuses to do it. He gives it back. And so this wealthy mogul looks upon this person as totally useless because he doesn't play the game right. He refuses to be an investor, enter into that type of joy that says can only be attained through doubling your money. The joy of his kingdom, which no matter how good it is, will only be temporary. What if it is that this worthless slave personifies the Jesus who is thrown into the outer darkness of all the power of the world, Rome's power? What if he refused to invest in Rome's power? What if he is the one that the power throws out? into the weeping and the gnashing of teeth? What if it is the reality of who Jesus really is, who won't play the games of political power? Now, can I prove that the parable means this? Maybe not. But I think the brilliance of the Gospels always invite us to go deeper, far deeper than we ever have before. That somehow we just don't read it and say, oh, I know what that's all about. Because in reality, we might not. We might see something far deeper that makes us look at ourselves and say, where do I fit in all of this parable? And if you're not the person who's doubled everything or quadrupled, but if you're the one who held on to the talent because you refused to invest not just money, but your very person into anything that would simply make the rich richer and the poor poorer, well, maybe you are that person. But on the other hand, if you hear this stuff long enough, it starts to float inside your body and you begin to think, there's more here that meets the eye, really. And suddenly we begin to look at Gospels like this and say, let's talk about this. It's the stuff of Bible classes. It's the stuff of people gathered together to say, where are we in this world? You know the statistics, don't you? You know the widening gap between the rich and the poor. Never has been this wide in a long time in the United States, maybe since the Depression. Why is this happening? Are those people who lost their homes or lost their investments, are these the people that this landowner is going to say, throw them out? You should have known better. Throw them outside. You can't come into the joy of my kingdom. My kingdom is the kingdom of success. You've just proven that you're a failure. And so it is. Each Sunday we walk into church, we sit, then we stand, then we say our confession. We ask ourselves, where do we stand in a gospel like this? What is the reality of how we assume the gospel in our life? And every now and then a gospel like this comes along and says, you thought you knew it all, didn't you? But maybe you forgot that there is a secret in some of the Gospels that takes some type of deeper understanding. When you do, you're surprised. You see things very, very differently. But you see, that is what Jesus was always up to, wasn't he? The last shall be first, the first shall be last, the poor shall be rich, the rich shall be poor. You cannot serve God, you cannot serve mammon. All of that stuff comes and it descends on a gospel like this, and it invites us to say, think a little deeper, think a little harder. And when you do, you may be surprised. God was on the side of this man who was thrown out with the weeping and the gnashing of teeth all along. He wasn't the rejected one. He was the one that was going to be picked up in his own poverty, in his own fear, by the Christ who throws himself out into the world, pays the ultimate price. Take the bulletin home. Don't give it back to us. Read it again on Tuesday. Think about it once more. It's well worth digging into. After all, I think we call it the Word of God. God bless us as we look into Gospels like this in new and wonderful, exciting ways that allow us perhaps to see God in a new and different way, the possibilities that are open to us as a community. And when we do, all of a sudden we become a renewed people. And in that renewal, we reach out to touch the world, to pick up those who have been thrown out into the darkness with the wonderful world of the gospel. And that weeping and that gnashing of teeth turns into joy when they encounter the resurrection.